Ladies and gentlemen, I know that many of you are still finishing up your dinner and dessert is being served. But many of you have traveled a long distance, and we want to be respectful of your time and try to keep the program moving along. This is a time in which we all came here tonight to see some of the best being inducted into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. At this time, I would like to ask Patrick W. McKinney, Emmett Irwin Davis, and the grandson of Mr. James M. Smith, Charles Moss, to join me on the stage for your induction into the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. Our first honoree is Mr. James M. Smith, who was the founder of J.M. Smith Corporation in Spartanburg. Joining us tonight is Charles Moss to represent Mr. Smith.
He and my grandmother were married on Christmas Day in 1925. The story was that the reason they were married on Christmas Day is that was the only day he would close the store. As my grandfather studied pharmacy at Valparaiso University, he became aware of an opportunity that he saw in North Carolina.
The story is that there was a fellow who owned a pharmacy in North Carolina that was taking advantage of the fact that so many young pharmacists needed jobs by advertising nationally that if you came down, you could run his pharmacy for a year, and if you reached a certain profit target, he would let you buy the drugstore.
This advertisement and this offer, which seemed like a good offer, was actually a scam.
The profit target was so high that people would come, work very hard for a year, and fail to meet the target, and then he would reap the profits and bring in another young pharmacist. My grandfather took the deal and he hit the target, and that's how he got his first drugstore, and then everything grew from there.
The first drugstore was on Pack Square in Asheville, North Carolina.
My father regarded my grandfather as a terrific leader, as a model of integrity. He also, though, thought that my grandfather was more of a showman than he was himself.
Grandpa would go to places nearby the store, and he would go up to people and say, excuse me, do you know where there's a drugstore nearby here? And my mom would be there, and she was kind of a prop, you know, the little girl to make the man look, you know, even more attractive. And usually that went very well. He would get all this great feedback on the store. From that, Grandpa branched out and began opening other drugstores in western North Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina, and into northern Georgia.
Every one of those, he was partnered with a local independent guy. So when he made the decision to go into wholesaling, it wasn't like everybody happened overnight. He would buy some of them out along, and some of them stayed 8 years before they sold out to him as he became a wholesaler.
They moved from Asheville, North Carolina to Spartanburg, South Carolina. In moving to Spartanburg, South Carolina, he founded the wholesale drug distribution business geographically at the center of where the existing chain of Smith drugstores were. To think it started from the one drugstore and developed from that into the wholesale drug business, and then from that into multiple businesses. That shows both my grandfather's entrepreneurial spirit as well as that of the generations that have come after him as well.
The primary purpose of the company is to ensure that people receive really great health care while also being a constructive force in the civic life of the community.
He set a standard of conduct, a business attitude, of the way he thought a corporation should behave. When I arrived at this corporation, slightly younger, some 41 years ago, they talked of a commitment to our customers, our employees, our suppliers, our community, our vendors, and that we needed to find balance among all those interests.
The James Smith Foundation is a charitable matching foundation that provides for both the directed charitable interests of the employees as well as for the corporation as well.
I think if my grandfather were alive today, he would be tremendously pleased and honored by this recognition. He devoted his life to the notion that you could provide a really valuable service to your customers, to the community, while also taking care of your family and making it possible to have a rich and enjoyable and meaningful life.
I sort of have this dream of sitting on my front porch 10 years from now, and people are talking, and they got kids graduating from college, and they're all hoping they can get a job here. Because it's a great place to work.
Please welcome Charles Moss, representing his grandfather, Mr. James M. Smith.
Good evening. As introduced, I'm Charles Moss, one of the grandchildren of James Smith, and it's a great honor to be here tonight and to receive this honor on behalf of my grandfather. As some of you may know, my grandfather died 66 years ago, and so I'm speaking on behalf of a man that I never met. And some may ask, well, how do you know your grandfather? Well, I feel like I know my grandfather three different ways: through his progeny, through the company he started, and through community. To me, there was no finer example of what represented my grandfather than his three children: my Uncle Jim, my Uncle Henry Dale, and my mother Beverly. My Uncle Jim ran our company for a number of years. Many in this room I knew my Uncle Jim or worked with my Uncle Jim, and without a doubt would tell you that my Uncle Jim was the smartest man they ever met. And I remember growing up, I used to try to stand near Uncle Jim because I thought some of that might rub off on me. I hope so. And then Henry Dale, my other uncle. He represented many of the same qualities, yet he had different traits as well. My Uncle Henry Dale was always the optimist, always the pragmatist. He was the guy that got things done, the problem solver. In his world, the glass was always half full. And then my mother, Beverly. Through my mother, I learned of the love that my grandfather had for me. But beyond that, my mother, I think, taught me perspective, and she also taught me something else that is a very rare commodity today. She showed me wisdom. Today, as I think you may have seen a preview a little bit in the slide presentation before, my grandfather founded the company on 5 principles. 5 principles. We'll quickly go over those. 5 principles. And these are principles that we seek to adhere to today. They're foundational principles for our company. First and foremost, principle 1, be true to your customers, be true to your clients, because those are the people that we serve. And number 2, be true to your employees. At James Smith Corporation, we are blessed to have many, many terrific people working for us at our company. These are terrific people who get up every morning, unlock the doors, turn on the lights, and make things happen. And at the end of the day, they go home to their families. But some don't go. Some work second shift, some work all night. And we're blessed by the terrific people that work at our company. Third, be true to your vendors. Be true to your suppliers. The same way we serve other people serve us. Fourth, be true to your stakeholders, your shareholders. Those are the people that have provided the capital from which we operate and help provide the strong foundation on which our company now stands. And finally, the fifth element, which is maybe a function of all the others, is community. Community. You heard a little bit about the foundation and so forth in the presentation. And somebody might ask, well, what is our community? What is our community? Is the community J.M. Smith Corporation? Well, yes, that's a community. Is the community the town of Spartanburg, where we're headquartered? Yes, that is part of our community as well. Is the community the county of Spartanburg? Is it the upstate? Is it the state of South Carolina? It's yes. Yes to all of those. Our community is all of those and more. So tonight, thank you so much for recognizing my grandfather. I feel in some way he is looking down on us tonight, and it's a tremendous honor to be here and to accept this award. Thank you so much.
As we honor Mr. Smith tonight, you can definitely see the impact that he's made not only on his family, but on the business community here in South Carolina. It is an honor to welcome Mr. Smith to the South Carolina Business Hall of Fame. Our next honoree is Mr. Emmett Irwin Davis, who is the founder of Davis & Floyd, an engineering firm in Greenwood, South Carolina. Please pay attention to the AV.
He is a humble man, and there's a humility about him that I've never seen in a leader.
He's on time, he's prepared, he's got energy, and he accepts the responsibility of getting it done.
He's a historian, he's a naturalist, he truly is a Renaissance man.
I've been interested in engineering since I could walk, I guess, because I always liked to build things, to be around things that are being built. My father died when I was young. My mother raised me and one other boy. She always said, look, you don't have any limits unless it's in your mind.
He's rooted in his hometown. The principles and ethics of the people of Greenwood and his family.
He has grown an engineering practice along with his now deceased partner, Phil Floyd, into a major force in multidisciplinary engineering.
Phil Floyd and I founded this company in 1954. We had the two back rooms on the liquor store right down the road here. People would always find us. They said, where's your office? We said, go to the liquor store, and we're the two rooms in the back. One thing we found out real soon is